Rennick, and I am an art teacher and an artist. And I have been doing a lot of virtual art classes this year. And I have been using Jamboard, which is a free Google Chrome extension to help my students learn about art. We've been having a great time with it. It's interactive. I can see what they're doing while they're doing it, and then I can also help them with it while they're actually working on it. So it has made my classroom feel like a real life classroom, even though we are not physically in the same room. It really does feel like we are. And now we're doing color wheel. So the one thing about Jamboard is it does have a limited color palette, but in this case, it's a really good thing because instead of just getting to pick the secondary colors, we actually create them. So I'm going to show you how to use the tools that are already in Jamboard to make your own secondary colors. So we're going to get a chance to try out the primary colors and to create our secondary colors. After you watch the video, if you want to use my template, I am going to include it for free down in the description. You are welcome to make a copy, import it into Jamboard, and then use it for yourself or for your students. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you find this useful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. So without further ado, I am going to open up Jamboard, share my screen, and show you how to do this. So let's go. Okay, so we are going to go to Jamboard, to one I already have set up for color theory. The way that I do it with my students is I have a Google site and they scroll to the day's work and they click on their Jamboard there. I have mine already open, so I am going to just show you how I started. So we have the first few pages for a little bit of basic information about color theory. So here we have just a color wheel and a little bit of information about the history. Color is one of the elements of design. So we've already talked about line, shape, form, and we've used a little color, but now we're really going to get into how we can use color and create our own colors. Roy G. Biv, of course, is the common way to remember the colors of the rainbow in order. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And for our purposes, we are just going to combine indigo and violet to create purple. So I like to tell my students that we say Roy G. Biv. Here is the template and the information for my students for the first day, and then I add more information as the days go. We are going to use this template here, and here's my completed Intro to Color Theory assignment, which is also what my students will do and also what you will do. So what I'm going to do first is import the images. So I'm going to go to the icon with the mountains, add image, and I am going to get it from my Google Drive, and I'm going to double click on it. It pulls it in, make it the size that I want, which is the full size. Now there's still going to be a little leftover room for examples and trying things out. So what I had my students do for their own Jamboards is they click on it, they do Control C or Command C, and then scroll over to their page, click on their page. So if they were framed 6, they would Control or Command V. Now they have their own copy, and then they would also make a sticky note with their first and last name and their block number. This is our example, and we are going to go in here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with the Roy G. Biv, as I tell my students. So we are going to either write it or we could type it. I will type it because it will be a little bit neater. So what we're going to do here first is just write out Roy G. Biv, which is indigo and violet together. So we remember the order. And then we are going to put them around the outside so that we know the order and we don't forget. So this is what you guys will all do. Then the other thing you're going to do is you are going to circle the primary colors. And we see here the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Those are the very first colors. You can't create your own. So we just want to remind ourselves that those are the primary colors, and we're going to start with those. So we're going to circle the red, the yellow, and the blue. This is going to help us remember. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to fill in all of the primary colors. So we are going to choose the highlighter brush because it is the darkest, most intense color, and we're going to do red. So we are going to go in and we're going to zoom it here. We could go 100%, but the bigger it is, the easier it is to do a nice job. So we are going to use 200%, and it's a highlighter tool. So if you just do a little bit, it's going to be scratchy. So in order to have excellent craftsmanship, we want to fill it in all the way. If you go outside the lines, it is not a big deal. And in fact, sometimes I intentionally do. And then I'll just go in with an eraser to tidy up the edges. Again, for my good craftsmanship. But the most important thing is to have it filled in all the way, solid, solid, solid. So there's one primary color. Now the next primary color is yellow. And again, we can't create these colors by mixing other colors. That's why they're primary, because they're the first colors. So we're going to color this in all the way. And again, we are using the highlighter tool for this. So anywhere where you can look at it and you can see that it's not the darkest possible value, or it's not the most intense yellow, you can see any light showing through. You got to go in and make it a little bit more by putting more layers of the yellow. If you were using poster paint, you would probably need to do the same thing and put several layers of paint until it was nice and smooth and solid looking. Okay. Then our last primary color is blue, and you can see they're separated from each other on the color wheel. Now this is more of a light blue, but that's what's on Jamboard, so that's what we're going to use, and it works fine. So what I'm doing is I'm using my left hand to hold down the touchpad, and I'm using my right hand to draw with. And if I have to fix up my circle around the bee in a minute, that's okay. Okay, so now we have our primary colors. They are nice and solid and smooth. They look nice and neat. I actually am going to clean this blue up just a little bit. Okay, now we're going to mix colors. So the secondary colors are where you take two first colors, combine them together, so two primary colors, combine them together, and they create a new color, which is the second color or a secondary color. So here, the color wheel is like a cheat sheet. The way that you can use the color wheel like a cheat sheet or a map to find out how to mix colors is you look at it, and we want to make orange, and it's right in between the red and the yellow, so we know that we are going to have to mix red and yellow to create orange. So we're going to try that. Now, since we're using digital tools instead of paint, instead of actually blending them in real life, we're going to be visually blending them. We're going to make layers. And this is what we did. We would test it out over here on the side. So we know it's got to be red and yellow. So you could try first putting the yellow with a highlighter down because it's bolder, and you could test that out and then see what happens if you put red on top. And you could also test the red on the bottom and the yellow on top. But just make sure that your tester is very solid with that highlighter underneath. Then the next tool over is watercolor, and it is much more pale. So we're going to use that to layer on top. So there's one layer. There's a second layer. Ooh, and there's a third layer. Let's see what happens if we do a fourth. I think that fourth layer looks nice. Now we're going to test the yellow watercolor over the red and see how that looks. So there's one layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers. So you would pick which one you like. And I think I like the yellow on top of the red, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to fill in with highlighter, which is the bold one, the red first. Solid, just as solid as I did my primary color. So this is going to be solid red first because we are going to layer the yellow over top. And I have a special trick for you. To show you how to make the yellow look nice and smooth. Or anytime you use the watercolor. Solid. And I will clean up the edges once I've done both. Okay, I'm going to show you a trick for how to make the yellow watercolor look smooth. So let me show you what happens if you think you're going to be careful by drawing separate lines to outline it. But do you see how it looks all choppy? That is not, it is turning orange, but it doesn't look very nice. See that? So I'm going to back that up and show you how to make it look smooth so it turns into a really beautiful smooth orange color. If we make a line with our watercolor, it looks like that. If we make several lines overlapping, they look choppy and kind of scratchy. But if in one motion, as if we're drawing a line, we overlap it all in one motion, it does not create extra lines. So we could make as many lines overlapping as we want to, and as long as we don't pick up once, it makes it nice and smooth. So let me show you how that affects our orange color. So I'm not going to pick up my finger, and I'm just going to fill it in with one color, and then I'm going to do another layer. And I think on my practice I used 4 layers of it, and we'll see how this looks. See how that looks. That looks nice. So now I just got to touch it up a little bit with an eraser on the sides. And then I'm going to use the red highlighter to touch this up. That was kind of wobbly. So I just hit the back button. And I will touch that up later. So now you can see we have red, orange, yellow. I'm going to do the same process with my green and my purple. I've already done a test, so I know that I like the blue underneath and the yellow on top. But you are welcome to try it out because my students have done different combinations. You can try it on the side just like we did with the orange and see which one you like better. I'm going to start with the blue highlighter on mine. Go to 200%. Fill it in. Now there is a green color that you can choose on Jamboard, but don't choose it because we are mixing our own colors. So anytime, if there's something that you just did and you're not real happy with it, you can just hit the back button or you can hit Control Z. And it's very important to have the bottom layer be very smooth. Now we make green by mixing yellow and blue. So now I'm going to take my yellow watercolor and I'm going to do that smooth motion again like we did with the orange. So I'm not picking up my finger in between. And I'm going to do, that was one layer. Two layers. Three layers. I'm going to look and see if that is, oh yeah, I think that looks nice. Let's take a look from further away. Let me try one more layer just to see if I like it or not. No, I think that looks too yellow, so I'm going to back that one off. I'm going to back it off one more time to see. Nope, that's too blue. That's just right. So I'll just use my eraser to clean that up, and then we're going to do purple. And then I'm going to take the highlighter and touch up this edge here. Oop, not that much though. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the blue. Now, the last thing we have is the purple. And if we look, purple is in between red and blue, so we know that's what we have to mix. Again, you can do your own sample and decide how you want to make your purple. I liked using the solid red with the blue on top, so that's what I'm going to do. And since I need red here anyway, I don't have to erase the little tip of red that's on there. Get it nice and even for our craftsmanship. And it's very, very important to have the red solidly filled in, otherwise when we put our blue over top, it's not going to look well crafted. It's going to be kind of rough. So now I'm switching to my blue, and actually I see a little light spot here, so I'm going to finish that up. Now I'm going to switch to blue watercolor, and I'm going to use the trick of holding down with one hand. As long as you don't pick up, you can overlap as many times as you want to. There, that's one layer. Now we're going to do a second layer. Somewhere between 2 and 4 layers usually looks like a pretty good purple. I think that looks good. I'm going to try one more just to see. But yeah, do you see how that looks too blue? So I'm going to take that layer away. But I am happy with that purple. And now I'll clean up my edges. And that looks pretty good. I do see one spot where I need to touch up my red highlighter right here. So I'm just going to use my red highlighter to even out this. There we go. Let's see how that looks. There we go. So now we have the color wheel: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Okay, so we finished our color wheel. We applied the primary colors, the red, the yellow, and the blue, and then we created our secondary colors out of those primary colors. We used excellent craftsmanship and we created a color wheel in the correct order. So I hope you found this useful. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a great day, and I love you guys. Bye. Mwah.